What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners for today's 13-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Awesemo.com. We're in the dying days of MLB's regular season with just 3 Four Corners video left, so now's your time to make good and like this video. And if you want to win a free month of Awesemo Plus, like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. In our last Four Corners video on Friday, nobody got it right despite a couple double dongs in Major League Baseball, so get weird with it, but either way, make your pick right now by liking this video and commenting that double dong pick down below. But as always, let's start with our top pitchers on today's slate. Noah Syndergaard in a matchup with Miami is going to be a top-owned option industry-wide. Syndergaard gets 2.9 implied runs against him. He's expected to be the top-owned pitcher on DraftKings with 47%, on FanDuel with 38%, and on Yahoo with 50%. Syndergaard's 24% K rate isn't near his more successful teammates, but Miami's projected lineup has a 29% K rate, with no hitters over a 167 ISO, so the spot seems solid for Syndergaard on paper. Syndergaard is not a guy that I'd like to trust as chalk, but it seems like a decent spot for him against the Miami team who has no power, and it's also going to offer him some easy strikeouts at a reasonable price point. Garrett Cole at Seattle should also find some ownership today with also 2.9 implied runs against him. Cole will be the number 2 owned option on FanDuel with 22% and on Yahoo with 37%, while he'll be number 3 on DraftKings with 25%. Cole's 39% K rate and .91 whip remains as good as it gets, with his premium price more the issue for him than the 193 ISO that Seattle has versus right-hand pitching on the year. Seattle does have some dangerous power, but Cole is extremely good. I'd be more inclined to pay for him on sites where he's a bit cheaper, like FanDuel and Yahoo, but I'd still be willing to pay his DraftKings price and match the field on that ownership. And Mike Clevenger at the White Sox should also find some ownership today with 3.4 implied runs against him. Clevenger will be number 3 on FanDuel with 15% and on Yahoo with 36%, while he'll be number 4 owned on DraftKings with 24%. Clevenger projects as a better mix of points and value than Cole with his 35% K rate in a White Sox lineup who has some power, but also brings a 27% K rate versus right-hand pitching. In lineups in which you need to find a few extra dollars, I think going to Clevenger is a logical move, but Cole still seems like the better play to me overall. And now into our next corner of the top stacks on the slate, and the Boston stack versus Ariel Jurado looks like it should be popular today. Boston gets 6.3 implied runs, which are the most on the slate, and they get a big park upgrade with 90-degree weather in Texas, going against opener Edinson Volquez and projected long reliever Jurado. Boston has a 198 ISO with a 21% K rate versus right-hand pitching on the year, and their lineup should be back to full health with high ownership across the board. A chalky Red Sox team playing for nothing does seem like a bit of a risk, but it is a nice spot here in a hot day at Texas with a team who's hit right-handed pitching really well all year long. And a Mets stack versus Sandy Alcantara should also find some ownership with 5.1 implied runs for them. Alcantara's 5.3 xFIP and mediocre 18% K rate offers some opportunity and a slight park downgrade for Alcantara. The Mets hitters are well priced with the 190 ISO in their projected lineup versus right-hand pitching, but Alcantara's reasonable 1.3 whip means many stacks may be more appealing. There is one value, one off who appeals to me, but overall this Mets stack looks a bit overowned. I think many stacks would be more the move because Alcantara doesn't give up a ton of production overall. And a Cleveland stack versus Hector Santiago should also find some fans with the 5.6 implied runs for them. Santiago's been hit hard with a 1.8 whip and a 6 xFIP, as well as a not great 21% K rate on the year. Cleveland's projected lineup brings a 205 ISO and a 113 WRC plus versus left-hand pitching that seems worth their somewhat premium prices today. Cleveland hits lefty as well, and Santiago is not a good lefty by any stretch, so the spot for Cleveland with a nice implied total in their favor seems like a good one to go to for a stack today. And now onto our next corner, the lower owned options on the slate. The Yankee stack versus Brendan McKay interests me. The Yankees do not have an implied run total yet because their pitcher hasn't been announced, but they'll face opener Yanni Chirinos and projected long reliever McKay, who gets hit hard by righties with a 1.6 whip and a 5.1% home run rate. The Yankees righties bring huge power versus left-hand pitching with a 237 ISO and a 131 WRC plus in their projected lineup, and that could be under-owned due to uncertainty because of their pitching situation right now. There's a lot of big power in the Yankees lineup, and Chirinos and McKay have both shown some weakness and some ability to give up big power production to right-handed bats. And Mitch Keller versus the Cubs also interests me despite 4.8 implied runs against him. Keller continues to get in the jams with a 1.8 whip, but his 29% K rate offers fantasy value at a reasonable price point once again. Keller's 3.5 xFIP and an unlucky 480 batting average on balls in play show some signs of positive regression that are due at some point, though the Cubs' 204 ISO versus right-hand pitching does offer some big risk. It's not great hitting weather in Pittsburgh, so I'm willing to go to Keller today with his price again low, and the fact that he has gotten strikeouts time and again despite his other failings. And an Oakland stack versus Dylan Peters interests me with the 5.6 implied runs for them. Peters' 1.5 whip and weak 17% K rate offers opportunity for power-happy Oakland and a park upgrade. Oakland has a 216 ISO and a low 19.3% K rate versus left-hand pitching, so Peters could find some big trouble against a ton of power bats. Oakland's reasonably priced, and there are some cheap one-offs, one of whom I'll talk about in a second, so the spot versus Peters seems like a good one for one-offs, mini stacks, and full stacks. And Ross Stripling at San San Diego is barely playable with 3.7 implied runs against him. Stripling is the projected long reliever behind Rich Hill, and if he sees enough batters, he could find some strikeouts at this 24% K rate and San Diego's 26.4% K rate versus right-hand pitching. Stripling is a risk with no more than 3 innings pitched in his appearances this month, but without much decent value, a serviceable performance from Stripling can open up salary. Stripling isn't a guy to want a ton of volume on with his low innings pitched recently, but he's still a guy who can get strikeouts, and that's valuable if it opens up some bats that are higher priced. And now into our last corner of the one-offs, and Chris Davis versus Dylan Peters interests me. Davis's price is low again, but he has a 254 ISO versus left-hand pitching, while Peters gives up a 5.9 xFIP and a 5.1% home run rate to right-handed batters. Peters isn't good, Davis is cheap, and it's a park upgrade for Oakland, so this seems like a nice spot for Chris Davis to continue showing the limited power that he's shown time to time this year. And Mookie Betts versus Edison Volquez and Ariel Hirado interests me as a one-off. Betts has arguably been Boston's best hitter this year, and he brings a 257 ISO with a 157 WRC plus and a leadoff spot on a hot Texas day. There aren't a lot of hot hitting parks around MLB, so Betts being a good hitter and a big park upgrade on a hot day makes him a really interesting play as a one-off. And kill me, but Robinson Cano versus Sandy Alcantara also interests me as a one-off. Cano is cheap despite a 200 ISO versus right-hand pitching, while Alcantara is worse versus lefties with a 5.2 xFIP, just a 15% K rate. Cano is cheap because he often disappoints, but he still does have big power against a guy in Alcantara who has struggled a lot versus lefties. So there you have it. There are my thoughts on today's slate. So right now, please like this video and comment your double dong pick down below if you want to win that free month of Awesemo Plus. And if you've given up on the quest for the free month in our last week of the Four Corners for MLB, you can also use this promo code Switch and Hedge for half off your first month of Awesemo Plus. Get an all-access pass. You're getting both MLB and NFL for the playoffs and for the whole NFL season. So go check that out right now at awesemo.com/join. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. I've got content coming out every day for the NFL and the MLB. So see what I'm up to right now on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. As I mentioned earlier, we've got 2 more Four Corners videos tomorrow and Friday, so tune in then, get your last shots of the Double Down contest. I'll be back with you guys again very soon, so enjoy and good luck.